Good morning. Welcome to Seattle Full Arts Collective Board of Directors meeting, February 8th, 2025. My name is Blaise, and I'll be your host. I'm going to call this meeting to order at 10:05. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted somewhere, probably. If you don't like your video to be included in that, please turn your video off now. Our first order of business is roll call. We have a sparse crowd tonight who's very lively, enthusiastic. And so we have board members Blaise Desert, Ariana Phoenix, Pat, Executive Director Arlene, and we have Distinguished Volunteer Tori. It's not an official title. And yeah, so our first order of business is we need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Any discussion on the motion? No, wait, we need to second it first.
Second.
Second on the motion. All right. Any discussion on the motion to approve the agenda? I don't hear any. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. The motion carries. I've decided to speak in more formal words because AI is listening to me, and this is a skill I'm trying to develop lately because it's going to be more useful in the future. And so if I'm annoying, just deal with it. So if I'm forgetting something important, also let me know because it needs to be read out or whatever. All right. So the second routine motion we need here is to adopt the last meeting minutes from November. I took a look at those. You can, if you would like to as well. We've made a lot of progress since then, actually, so it's great. So if we could have a motion to approve the minutes in the last meeting. Motion. You have a second for the motion.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion to approve the agenda? Any questions? Right, no discussion. All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda for the last meeting, say aye.
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 Aye. All right, the motion carries. The agenda has been approved. The second unfinished business from last meeting, we didn't really finish, is land acknowledgement discussion. Desert has brought a draft of some words to say at some meetings, and so I wanted to have a discussion here about when and where to do that, and maybe what the path looks like for doing that, whether we need a smaller working group, but we're just going to approve it, or I don't know. In the interest of not running out of time, I would like to put discussions and stuff at the end of the meeting. But I just wanted to bring this up now as like a point of order I'd like to make sure we get to. The second unfinished business here is revising the bylaws. I am the worst foot dragger ever. And so we have proposed changes and motions finally for that. And Arlene came up with the best words of all this time, and I'm so surprised and happy because this is great. Someone just sends me the words and we go. And I still managed to be late with that. So please take a look at that. And we can motion on that later. That's the unfinished business. I'm going to move those things to the end so we can have time for discussion. The new business, which we have to do, is the first meeting of the year. We do our officer elections. And so this is another tedious thing. So grab your coffee and your Seattle Flow Arts Collective mug, and we'll just bear through. And after this, I'm going to continue running the meeting, regardless of who becomes chair or not. And we're just going to proceed to run the meeting as normal. And then the next meeting, the next chair will be in charge of if there's a next chair. And so if you want to read through all the words with me, I put it at the bottom of the meeting minute agenda here. So we will begin. Any questions before I begin? I think I've done this 4 times now. I'm just like, right. All right. The bylaws require that the board hold an election yearly to select the chair, vice chair, treasurer, and secretary of the organization. The document entitled Board Member Responsibilities and Expectations outlines the organization's expectations for board members and is included in the board member manual. The chair will accept nominations for each office or position. The nominee can decline the nomination. When nominations are closed by motion or by none further being offered, the board will proceed to vote on each nomination in turn. Officer nominations are accepted upon a majority vote in favor. End of blurb. So, any other questions before we get started? And we've discussed in the past, like what we intend to do. So hopefully no one's changed their minds. Great. So let's start with chair. Do we have any nominations for the position of chair?
I would like to nominate Kat.
You nominate Kat. Kat, do you accept the nomination?
I accept the nomination.
All right. Any discussion of the nomination? All right. I move to close nominations for chair. Arlene?
Nothing. Proceed.
All right. I move to close nominations on chair position. None further being offered. Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
All right, discussion on the motion to close discussion. No. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Now we do the actual vote. Everyone who wants to vote for Kat, the only nominee, say aye, all against say nay. And yeah. Aye.
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 If ayes have it. Congrats, Kat. You're the new chair of Seattle Forest Collective. And really amazed. It's awesome. I look forward to seeing you because it's nice to have a new chair. All right, we're going to move on to vice chair. I think this is the one I'm going to nominate myself for, but if someone else wants to, that's cool. All right, nominations for vice chair. Arlene can't nominate.
Okay, let's
All right, I nominate myself. I accept. And I furthermore move to close nominations for vice chair. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion on the motion to close nominations for vice chair? No discussion, all right. Say aye to continue on to the vote. All in favor of moving on to the vote for vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, the motion carries. All right, now we're on to the vote for vice chair. I'll offer a statement. I intend to be just as available as I was before, but now I'm the vice chair. And I will help Kat however I can. End of statement. All right, all in favor say aye. Look at Sydney.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it. I am vice chair. Good job, ladies. You took one step down. Sweet. All right, moving on to treasurer. Do we have any nominees for treasurer?
I'll nominate myself.
No, I treasurer's nominees. Do you accept your own nomination?
No. Yes. Sorry, I meant yes.
Okay, you misspoke. Okay. All right. Any other nominations for treasurer? All right, none being offered. I motion to close nominations for treasurer. For a second.
Second.
All right, all in favor to move forward to the vote, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, the motion carries. Now we're on to the vote for treasurer. There's only one candidate named Desert. Desert does a great job. I recommend you vote. All in favor of Desert, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. I believe the ayes have it. Desert, congrats. You are still the treasurer. And last,
Yay.
congrats. Any words you want to do a good job or
Yeah, just a couple of things, this year focus on trying to get a little more granular around some of the broader categories we've used. Actually, I took notes. Um, yeah, break general costs over percentage. Things like supplies and materials have a pretty high cost, but we're not tracking them against anything specific. It's just kind of this,
It's void.
yeah, large category that we should get a little more eye on, as well as uh, things like storage, right? Certain general, I saw that, general categorizations that we use that actually have a percentage cost against specific programs, because we want our budget and our spending should show that most of what we spend goes to supporting our programs versus anything else, including admin, right? I want to be able to say we spend 50, 60, 70% of all of our revenue towards our programs, because that's our mission,
Huge.
right? And I want to be able to say that very specifically and back it up.
That's awesome.
That's my goal this year,
Very good goal.
and figuring out our bookkeepers.
That's very figurable. Okay, our position, secretary. Do we have any nominations for secretary?
I can nominate myself.
Mariana, do you accept your own nomination
Yes.
right now? All right. Any other nominations for secretary? Crickets. I don't think anyone else can be secretary except Phoenix and stuff. So, all right, let's close nominations. Can I get a second on the motion to close nominations?
Second.
All right, any discussion on the motion to close nominations for secretary? Crickets? All right, on to the actual, no, vote. All in favor of closing the nominations for secretary, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, the motion carries. Last but not least, the final vote for the final position. We're almost done. All in favor of Ariana for secretary, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, ayes have it. We have a new set of officers for 2025. I'm gonna lightly call it Project 2025. The best crew of officers ever. No.
We are not calling it Project
No.
2025.
No,
It's not a good joke.
Oh, I'm well aware.
Yeah.
All right, so on to departmental updates. We're gonna start with Flowshop. Eileen, take it away.
Okay, yeah, so this is the part where I talk at you all for like the next 5 hours. Okay, but starting with Flowshop. Flowshop is going great. The new spot is great. It's like more than enough space. It like finally feels like it's the right amount of space actually. Like it feels like critical mass full. But not crowded. And there's even still like the balcony and the stage and stuff if there were more people. So there's even still room for us to expand, which is awesome. I am going to pay them for the rest of the season the next time I'm there. Just so that we can get that out of the way. I forgot to pay them for January, which we all forgot until this week. So I'm just gonna do that. In Desert, I will have receipts for you for those once they process their QuickBooks or once their things run. And I also did just confirm with them just over email, so I haven't signed a contract or anything, but I did confirm with them for the next indoor season. So for 25-26, we don't have to look for a place to live, which is great. I am so happy. That's the first time that's been true since COVID.
What are you gonna do with all this free time?
Yeah. Ugh. We are going to, one change that's happening with Flowshop is that we're going to be introducing a mask required event. I'm going to start that monthly. It'll be the you know, third Tuesday of the month or whatever, just so that it's like a consistent schedule, and kind of see how it goes and go from there. I do think that there's going to be a lot of interest in that, and support for it. So I'm looking forward to that. Um, and appreciate folks who have advocated for that also. Um, yes, Ariana.
Was your third Tuesday comment actual or that's just an example? Okay,
Yeah,
I just want
no.
to make sure I write it down if it was real.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, just whatever, some one consistent day. I need to kind of think through the schedule and where things are at right now, to figure that out. But yeah, that's very exciting. That's that's everything I wrote down for Flowshop. Are there any questions about Flowshop or feedback?
Have we set up any sort of like workshops or anything for 206 Zulu? I know we discussed sort of some sort of collab maybe, but
A collab with them?
or like teaching workshops there or something, more interested in like the people in Central District or whatever. Am I imagining that?
I think you imagined it.
All right.
Yeah, but I
Just
do want to shout, yeah, I do. Thanks for reminding me though. So this is being sponsored by 206 Zulu, who are the owners of the space, which is great. And they have been really lovely to work with, and appreciate their support immensely because this space would not be affordable without their sponsorship. For reals. Yeah, and I like the idea of getting back to there being workshops at Flowshop, and also the attention and bandwidth to that has still just been hard for me to come by. So um, that's kind of where that's at for now. Which is also if anyone feels like inspired to be a person who manages workshops for Flowshop, you could talk to me and we could talk about it. And that's Flowshop.
What's next, Blaze?
What's next? Oh, I can read all the programs. Eastside Spin Jam is next on the list. I don't know if Tori's here, but if you
I am
want
here.
to talk. Yeah, how's it going? Eastside Spin Jam.
It's going pretty good. I ran some numbers on my own sheet for last year. We had an average attendance of 12.9. Average indoor was 14.6 and outdoor 9.7. So we're trucking along in the first year, and our first outdoor jam is planned for Folklife in May. We are going to be meeting the weekend of Cascade Juggling Festival. We had people vote on it, and they decided they wanted to continue with jam that day. We are also confirmed to return to Crossroads Community Center the first Sunday in October. They have that tentatively saved for us if we decide to continue renting with them. So we're good on that. Yeah, so other than that, no big updates. We don't have a workshop for February. I am looking for somebody for March, so if anyone is interested in teaching or knows somebody who wants to teach, feel free to let me know. I've been plugging around as much as I can, and yeah, sometimes there's a bunch of people all at once that want to teach, and other times it's a bit of a desert, so.
Desert. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Next up, Arlene.
I have a comment about East Side Spin Jam, which is one of the things that Desert and I are working on, is finding a way to provide a volunteer stipend to the producer of East Side Spin Jam. And I think we're still sort of kicking around like what's the best approach to doing that, like what kind of an amount looks good. This January, I paid Tori a percentage of the donations, and it was a well-attended workshop, so it was like a good percentage or like a good amount of money, but I think there's pros and cons to tying it to the workshops. So still figuring out like what we can afford budget wise, and then also want to talk to Tori about like what feels good as far as that goes. So just pointing that out as a part of the planning for this year that's a little different from previous years.
Are you talking, Desert? You're muted.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Tori, what is the first outside event? Like when you shipped outside?
That is the weekend of Folklife, which is the last weekend of May.
Okay. So
I can
it's
get a
May,
specific date for you if you want.
it's May 25th. I got it.
Yeah.
And then you're in the first Sunday of October? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So then, okay, got it. Cool. Thank you. I'll follow up with some other questions.
Right. Next up on the list is Community Fire Jam.
I will give this update, and then the two of you can feel free to pick up what I missed. So we've sort of kind of formed a like production team, or a production team basically for the Fire Jam, which has consisted of Z as the producer, like head producer, Desert and Ariana as, I don't know, whatever they're doing. They do like they've been managing a lot of the like paperwork and back end stuff, and like map making and things like that, whereas Z has been more managing all of the leads and like is like the point person for event day and stuff like that. So and then I'm just kind of there filling in gaps and being the program director. It's loose, but I think having the four of us convene outside of the like whole team meetings has been good, because there's a bunch of stuff that doesn't really impact the like fuel depot lead necessarily, right? If they're interested, they can know it, but it's been good. So we've had a couple meetings so far, and then there have also even been more meetings between like Desert and Z and stuff like that. So there's actually been quite a lot that we have been preparing so far for this season. The dates, okay, so Z is planning to be the producer of the program for this year, but is looking to phase out of that. So we're hoping to, throughout the events this year, work on training their replacement. And there's a little bit of this topic goes a little bit into the next topic with the Levity Arts and Urbana collab. So we have mostly confirmed dates for Fire Jams for this year, not like set in stone, most of them, but we're looking at May 17th, June 13th, and September 20th as normal, regular, your familiar friend Community Fire Jam. The June 13th one would be the FlowFest Flow Jam or Fire Jam. And then, excuse me, Levity Arts and Urbana approached us to do a collaboration for the event that Levity has been putting on at Gasworks Park for the last few years. which was previously unpermitted. And they are looking to do it with permits this year. So we're going to be hopefully teaming up with them. That's the assumption we're operating under right now. So it will be sort of a different event. I'm not sure all of the details about, like, you know, is it a totally open fire circle? Is it a sign up fire circle? They do have more of a like performance element to their events as well as community participation. So we're still working out details as far as what that's actually going to look like. The dates for those two events that are currently planned would be June 17th and August 15th, which is a Thursday and a Friday, so different than our normal Saturday get-up. And there, we did apply, not we, CFAC, but the group applied for a grant back at the end of last year. We will find out at the end of this month, I believe, whether or not we were approved for that grant. If approval doesn't come through for that grant, I'm not sure what the plan is exactly. So these ones, short story long, these two jams are a little fuzzy at the moment and will be like fleshed out. So that's like kind of a new and different thing that's happening in Fireland this year. I don't want to go into too many details on the levity thing yet. Are there questions or things I missed about Community Fire Jam? Okay.
Got a fire jam. Next up on here, it says Levity Arts and Nirvana, but I think you just talked about those things. So
But there's a little bit more on that though.
Okay.
Just a little Okay, well, not that much. So they are engaged in some other fundraising. They had like they sold some like calendars over at the end of last year. They also are hosting like a performance at Nectar Lounge, I believe in March. That is also intended to be a fundraiser for that. They're pretty, you know, Levity and Urbana are both pretty like, they're doing their thing. They've got their stuff. I think they're both pretty great organizations. And the previous events have had up to like 2,000 participants. So it's like kind of a bummer to change it from being the format of like super community focused participation that the Community Fire Jam has. And at the same time, it's exposing us to like a very wide audience that many of whom probably don't even know that we exist as of now, but are people who would probably like to know that we exist and would be engaged with our programming. So we'll see how it goes. Collaborations are always like, you know, a bit of a mystery, but I feel optimistic. Okay, that's my Urbana levity. That's my levity, Urbana.
Exciting. Sometimes I go see those yoga events, there's like 500 people at Castworks just like down for dog. And I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of people I could teach flow arts.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are also workshops at this levity event, so that would be another way that people in our community can participate and like give to that. And I do believe that some of the artists are paid. Again, details are fuzzy, but yeah, we'll be working that out in the next couple months, probably.
Well, there's even more programs on our list. This is what year 5 is looking like, guys. We have 8 programs in the list to talk about. Next is Flowfest Seattle, which
there is just Urbana events. Is this separate from Levity and Urbana?
gosh, I thought it was Slash. Sorry, I'm gonna take back the Slash. Now you can talk about your. Okay.
So we've been hooking up with Urbana each month to do their Flow Friday events. It's been a lot of fun. It's in this church that they have been hosting events in, and they have like kind of wellness workshops, or maybe they'll do like yoga or contact improv class, and then they have open dance time in the sanctuary of the church, or the nave. I looked up the word. And it's been great. I just bring a bunch of props. I bring our fancy light up light. It's like the most perfect opportunity for that light to shine. Literally, it looks great. And it's been a lot of fun and introducing us to a new community. And I will not be available for this month's event. If anyone is interested in taking over my role for that, you can let me know. And otherwise, I let them know that we probably won't be there. But if anyone wants to prove me wrong and make us be there, you are welcome to do so. And I'm happy to help support you and get you all of the stuff you need. It's not super complicated once you're there. It's just like setting up the spot and kicking it and being nice to people who want to do things. Phoenix.
What's the date for that event?
Friday the 20th. Well, when you ask me that question, I don't know. I believe it's the fourth Friday, and actually, so then I don't know the answer to that question. My assumption is that it was the 21st. I think it's maybe the 21st. But should probably confirm.
Any more Yervana? I like Yervana.
I do not have more Urbana, but I also like them. I think James is really great. He's been super nice to work with.
Next up on our list is Flow Fest Seattle.
Yeah. So FlowFest is underway. Instructor applications will sort of soft close on March 15th. Applications, because Cassandra is the one who manages the applications, and when people apply to FlowFest, they can opt to apply for any of her events throughout the whole year. The application doesn't actually ever close. But if you want to be guaranteed to be considered for this year's FlowFest, you definitely want to get it in by March 15th. We are, as far as instructor stuff goes, last year I opted to focus way more. I think I only had people who were from the Northwest, like from BC down to Oregon. And this year I am going to be bringing in a few folks from out of town, so that there are a few sort of like, just like special guests, right? Not because I think that we have some amazing, super talented flow artists in this area, who are not less skilled than people from other areas, but people from other areas don't come out here as often, so we don't have as much opportunity to interact with them. And there was the workshop passes really bumped up the year that Drex was here. I don't know how much of that was related to him specifically, but certainly some percentage of it was. So just trying to do a little bit of that magic, bring some of that back. We will very probably be moving to the other side of the park near the amphitheater this year. And using the amphitheater for the performance on Saturday. That will not include the Friday Fire Jam. So the Fire Jam we still plan to do in the Dahlia Garden, but the Saturday's events are going to move across the street uh, which I think should be okay. We'll see. It's like a little less flat, and kind of a little less shade. We're also going to be 3 weeks earlier this year in mid-June, so it will still be January. So I'm hoping that we won't have the like too hot issue. I think that was the number one negative feedback last year, was that it was too hot. Which I cannot control the weather, but I can change when we do it. So, and honestly, this is, I think, going to be way nicer because then we'll have the things that happen afterward, like Pride. Parque Diem is actually moving to a different weekend at the end of May. So that'll be nice. So things are going to be a little bit more spread out for us than they were last year, which I think will be super great. Flyers will be ordered as soon as I reply to the email from the printer that's in my inbox, and I will be applying for park permits maybe this week. My goal was to put those in by February 22nd. And that's what I have for FlowFest. Questions, comments, worries, traumas, fears?
Well, we get to use the stage,
That's the plan.
but no fire.
No fire. Yeah. Yeah, they
Yes,
don't,
it's a
it's an
roof.
indoor venue.
Yeah,
Yeah, that roof.
maybe in the bathroom, but
Yeah, I am gonna ask them to have the bathrooms open, which would be great because then I will still bring toilet paper, but maybe we won't actually need to use it.
yeah, the thing. All right, we have 2 more points on this. Oh my gosh, we might have to take a bio break soon. Cascade Juggling Fest. What do you want to say about that?
Planning is underway and looking good for this year. Lineup is looking great for performance. And I think that we had some sort of like, is this a CFAC program? Are we sponsoring this program? Like, what's the relationship with this event? And we decided that it isn't necessarily an official, we're not paying me for my time to produce this event.
Mhm.
So whatever that means, that's a line that we drew. I do still think it would be great for us to send some money their way for sponsorship just to help fund the event. I don't know if there would be any benefit in thinking about me like tracking my time as a volunteer. I have no concept of like taxes or how that might potentially be nice for CFAC in some way. I don't know if any of us know that. But I do think it would be great to give them a sponsorship grant thing again. I think we gave them 500 last year. But we don't have to decide that right now. Are there any questions or comments about Cascade Juggle Fest?
Are we still providing their insurance?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And it'll be, I think we're probably going to be in the gym, in the middle school gym, Saturday and Sunday, which is where our insurance is the one. And for the events that take place at Bellingham Circus Guild, their insurance is in charge.
You guys are all right, our last one, if they're ready to move on, is Kindle Northwest 5.
They announced the dates.
Really?
Yes, I'm so proud. I'm so pleased.
I need to know.
it's the same weekend as last year, the weekend after Labor Day. I think it's like the 4th through the 7th. There haven't really been any big moves yet from my understanding, but there's the first all staff meeting is planned for the 22nd of this month. So things are getting started, and I think that clocks it quite a bit earlier. I think that's like 2 months earlier than previous years that we've had that organizers meeting. They have approved Rain as a 4th director, Rain Cassandra, as a 4th director, which I guess you all knew because we approved that. And they're still on the hunt for a 5th director. We will want to update the MOU for 2025. I need to review it. I'm not anticipating that there will be many, if any, updates to the actual language of the document, but we need to update the names and add the new directors and stuff and just get that signed and official for 2025. And we were also able to get debit cards to both Clarice and Bridget, which is dope. Thank you, Blaze, for doing paperwork for that to happen.
Those BCU tellers, they all know me.
That's all I have for Kindle. Is there anything, any questions or anything I missed that people know?
Time check, it is 11:15. We're a little less than halfway through our time, and we still have operations, development, marketing, community outreach, finance, board, and other stuff. So I would like to go for like 2 more minutes and take a little break, if that sounds good for you all. And so let's just jump back into it. Next section is the road to operations, which is stuff that's not the other things in my experience. Volunteer recruitment.
Yeah, so volunteer recruitment, Blaze and Kat and myself are still plugging along on this little project here. We got a little waylaid due to like schedules and I don't know, life, man. But we are meeting tomorrow evening and we're going to be doing like a work session because I think at this point it's just a matter of like kind of collecting materials and writing documents and stuff like that so that we're actually ready to launch a campaign on social media and be able to like receive people responding to that campaign, which obviously we don't want to have a campaign and then not be ready for them. Desert put stuff on the website for board member recruitment, or it's on the interwebs. We'll probably want to do a bit of that for the volunteer recruitment stuff once it becomes available, but we'll figure that out when we get there. And yeah, and I'll be probably working up the board recruitment and volunteer recruitment the board recruitment campaign I think is ready, like so long as people here are ready to, you know, so probably once the play opens for me is when my focus comes back, which is next weekend. So that'll maybe happen like in March, I guess, start that process. And we have been joyfully goading some of our friends to consider joining. So I do want to encourage, so like having the like a media campaign and putting in the newsletter and all of that stuff is great and will help to sort of like expand our search fingers out further. But I think that it's invaluable to have someone, like if you have someone in mind that you think would be a great board member, to actually say that to them and invite and encourage them to apply. That's like tends to be the best way for folks to be inspired to get involved because they're like, oh, it's not me. I couldn't possibly teach a poi class. I couldn't possibly do this thing, right? But then when someone else believes in them, they're like, oh, maybe I could. And none of us have any skill, or that's okay. I didn't mean that sentence. Most of us did not have experience in doing the things that we're doing here before we started doing them, right? So you just
Growth
gotta be willing-
opportunity.
Huh?
It's a growth opportunity.
It's a growth opportunity, yeah. So yeah, don't have to know what you're doing in advance, just have to be willing to do a mediocre job while you're figuring it out. And we're always here for the shitty first draft. So that's my volunteer recruitment spiel. Does anyone have anything to add or questions? That's
Okay.
cool.
Next thing in operations is website and then booth and storage. So website, I think what we need to say is, oh, we need some help to redo design as well as the words. I think I volunteered with words, but I need more of a plan. Anything you'd like to add to that sentiment?
Yeah,
It'd be on the front page this time. Can't be Natalie again.
nothing specific. Yeah, maybe that's like a next project, like after volunteer. It feels like the reality is that we have we can like
one project at a time.
go, yeah, right. We can like make things, we can handle the operations, and then like one sort of additional like internal project thing at once. So I do think it might be nice to have website be next on the list. Desert, would you speak words?
I would. Operationally, there's some things that we need to do before we get into the phase of, okay, we're gonna hire someone to redo our website. One of those things would be pay the hosting company more money so that we have a valid staging site where all these changes can be done. When we decide to do that should be about a month before we actually engage someone to do work for us. And they could develop locally, but when it comes to, hey, I'm ready to, push these changes and have you look at them, that's about when we want to spend that extra money. Other than that, I'm keeping the thing updated and backed up, but that's all I'm really signing up for.
No, that's great. Thank you so much. That really helps. Yeah. And I'm happy to help with I'm not good. I don't know how to format websites and stuff like that, but I am happy to contribute with like image selection, like design ideas and copy, or writing also. So.
And I can always help with design stuff. I design websites, but I don't develop websites. So that's where I can make mock-ups, I can't make the thing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That was I don't know the difference between those jobs face.
I can tell you what it looks like. I can't make it real.
Okay.
Vision versus execution.
I have the expertise to do everything except to make the pretty graphics part. That will not be my thing. But like the HTML and the WordPress, I can figure all that stuff out. It's just like I need a plan to do such a thing.
Do you want to?
Or want to?
Is the question, right?
Ask
Like I
me
feel
about-
like we have
Ask me about right now, no. Right now, no.
right, we have the expertise among us, but like, do we have the time and energy to do it ourselves, or should we hire someone?
Yeah.
Open thing to think about.
We'll think about that.
Yeah. It's good questions.
All right. I'd like to have the next 2 points and then take a bio break. Booth equipment.
Yeah, there's not a lot to
Need a bigger
say.
booth? Did we get a bigger booth? I thought we did.
We got a new booth. It's not bigger. It's still a
Okay.
10 by 10, but it will probably not die within like 5 uses, which will be great. Um, not 5, but it was like 8. So yeah, it's just beefier booth. And then yeah, and I'm gonna be spending some money. I want to get like a vinyl sign that is like 10 feet long, with the logo and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna be spending some money to make the booth look more professional and nice and vibey for this year. That's pretty much that update.
Yay.
Um,
Yeah.
is it storage?
Storage.
Yeah. So we've kind of gotten the storage unit that we had and the size that we had was fine, and now it's becoming less fine. It's getting pretty cramped in there. And so we definitely, I think it would make sense to increase go up one size. Um, I still would love for us to find a place that has availability, accessibility 24 hours. But I don't know what the feasibility is of that. I know we did like a pretty exhaustive search last time that we were searching, and it was not that great. And it was just that one spot, which was charging just so much money. And it didn't seem worth it for the amount of stuff that we had to store. So that's that. But that
Everything
would
with 24-hour access in the city was just cost prohibitive. Unless we know somebody that has a garage or a basement or a shed or a something that they want to rent us.
yeah. Which, could be like a tax write-off for someone, right? Like, like I don't know. So, or whatever, or we would pay them obviously for use of their space. So, yeah, keep your brain out and about on that.
What's
Um,
the area you're looking at for that?
hmm?
Geographically, like Ship Canal or Central Seattle, or what's the
Um, not too far north or south.
Okay.
That is non-specific.
Vaguely central,
Hmm?
pretty central?
like vaguely central.
Yeah. Yeah, vaguely central. If there was a place that was like, we're going to charge you $10 a month for a very large unit that you can access 24 hours a day, then like maybe that would be a scenario that it would be worth like going a little further afield, but I don't know that we're going to
Okay,
find
that doesn't count. I like $10 a month.
yeah. So if there was like a super magic thing, then I think that
Yeah,
would be good, but I
got
don't
it.
know that we're going to find it. So
Got it.
there was one operations thing that isn't on the agenda, but that I do want to make sure we are still paying attention to. Do we want it, which is hiring a person, hiring a person.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about that now? Do we?
Hmm. Let's come back in like 7 minutes. Talk about it.
Okay.
And go into development. Um, yeah, we gotta leave time for our budget as well as the non as well. So
Oh, yeah. Okay. Great.
we'll get through it.
Yeah, it should be pretty short.
All right. So you want plus 6 minutes? 11:05?
5
Yeah. I'm gonna stretch in your coffee.
Oh, I'm gonna pause the recording.
All right, we're back, I guess. New information. I completely spaced and forgot. I take my kid to dance at 11:30. So if someone else could run the agenda from 11:20, I'll still be on the call. But I'll be driving. Complex. So I'm such a lead. All right, next up on our list of things to do is talk about development. No?
I thought we were doing
Oh, hiring.
Yeah, so we don't need to talk about this a bunch right now. I think it's better for another moment, but I just want to make sure continue to do things so that we can do this. We made a job description. We should review it because we should review it. And then I just don't know what do after that. You know what I mean? So I don't know, those are my words on it. I really want to hire that person. I think it'd be great.
I'm interested in being involved in this. I have some experience with running hiring processes and happy to also be on like an interview team. So maybe you and I can coordinate, Arlene.
I think that sounds great. Is there anyone else who is interested in available to be part of that, or just any other words about it or thoughts about
I'm
Blaze?
willing to help interview and also help talk about the process of hiring, contractor or not, and then I can help you overview of the paperwork if you need help with that side. But I think
Yes.
it's more all of it. So yeah. We can talk about tomorrow too as well. Makes sense. You know?
My recollection of our leaving off was that we were going to ask Chuck if there was any specific process we need to follow for advertising this position, or if we don't, because it's just going to be a contractor role, in which case we can hire who we want.
Mhm.
And then I think otherwise it was just on pause for you, Arlene, to have the bandwidth to screen applications and things after you. That's my recollection of where we left off at the making of the job description.
Yeah.
It's good there's so many brains between us.
Our powers combined, we remember most things.
Most.
Is there a document with sort of an outline of a rec or where we are in the process or anything like that? Because that would be sort of what we need to catalyze this.
That's a good idea. We have the notes from the first working session, I believe, of this year was when we talked about this specifically. But it probably is a good idea to make a folder in the drive that's
Okay.
yeah, kind of, yeah.
Seems
Yeah,
like where we
yeah,
are in the process.
yeah.
The document. Yeah. I love the document making. That's my thing. It's okay. Maybe you didn't notice in 5 years, but I like making documents.
Okay. I'm just making notes to make notes about that and to kind of get that started. So I will, yeah, let's make sure we talk about this the next time we have a Wednesday meeting. And we can get a little more in the details about it and kind of start figuring out the stuff that y'all just said in words.
Do we have anything on the agenda for our working session next Wednesday?
Nothing on the agenda. So it definitely could be this. And I would be totally down and into that. Okay.
Sweet. Growing and growing. The next thing is development. Speaking of growing, I don't think we got any awards last time we met. So let's spill the beans and stuff. How is fundraising? How is our grant and stuff?
I have a quick update. So for end of year fundraising, I looked at from Give Butter and checks in December, we raised like $10,000. About 2/3 of that was board contributions, and the rest, the other third was community. Which is awesome. Thank you everyone for your donations and your support. And also want to say that since I'm going to be board chair now, I am resigning as development chair, which at this point isn't much of a thing. Anyway, so I'm not sure if we need to replace that role. A lot of the fundraising now is being done by staff, which is super awesome. And on that note, I'm going to turn it over to Arlene to talk about grants.
Grants. Thanks, Mal. Yeah, so this is the best I've ever felt about grants, and I have not tended to feel bad about grants. We're just in an especially good spot. So we were awarded at the end of 2024 $88,000 from For Culture for the next 3 years, so 25, 26, 27. It's 24 to 32,000 each year, respectively, which means that almost half of our annual budget for 3 years is already accounted for, which is baller. That feels so nice. This is a reimbursement grant, so I will be attending this coming Friday, the 14th, a seminar about that. They invited me to it. I'm attending it. And so we'll know more. But yeah, so that will be money that will come in later. So we'll want to figure out exactly, where it all goes and how we want to do that, which there might be strategy around that, or it might just be like whatever. So, but I will know more after Friday and we can start thinking about that. I do believe that in the same way that the application was more intense for Culture because the amounts were greater, the reimbursement process is also going to be, I think, a bit more detailed than before, which is why they're hosting like a special informational seminar about it, which they have not done in previous years. So we'll see what that looks like, but I'm not worried about it. Because we were awarded that grant, that opened us up to be eligible for what they're calling the Public Free Access Grant. And we're eligible for that in more than one way. So you can apply for that if you are offering like free programming, free or reduced cost programming, or like entry fees for programming. And because we do not require donations to attend our events, so our events are technically free, and we take a head count, God bless Circle Time, because we have a specific time during the event where we take an official head count, we're eligible to apply for that grant. If we did not have that, we would not be eligible. It's like that little piddly detail. And thankfully I have numbers from every event that FlowShop has ever hosted ever. So, blam. I think it's a pretty slight application. I haven't looked at it too hard yet. It's due on 2/27. So I'm going to be digging into that this week. I'm not sure what the amounts are. They didn't share what the amount grant awards would be. So question marks, but yeah, I bet that I think it's really cool. The way that we have structured our programs is just like really, really grant friendly because we provide free arts programming for people with no barriers. So that's super, super awesome, in a world where I think there just should be so much more of that. I'm really proud that we're doing it. It's so neat. There's another grant due at the end of this month on the 28th, which is through Artswa, which is their general operating support for small organizations. I believe that's for orgs that are under $1 million revenue. And we'll see about that one. One thing that is true about Artswa is that at least some, if not all, of their funding comes from the National Endowment for the Arts, and that is a federal program. And one thing that is true this year in general with grants is that, like, I think it's still really a question mark, like what is going to be the actual impact of this administration's fuckery. I'm just going to say it. One thing that is true is that if there's less money in federal grant programs, there's going to be increased competition for county, city, state granting programs. So that is like, you know, we don't have that much federal funding. If we have like almost none actually, but yeah, it still is potentially going to impact us. So that's like the other side of the coin. Things feel really great because we have this horticulture grant that funds us for the next 3 years. But the grant scene generally right now is up in the air and not necessary and not really in our favor. Please remember to vote all the time. There's an election on Saturday or on Tuesday. I don't know why I said Saturday, but I'm going to apply for it. And we have gotten previous grants. I think we've received an award from Artswa every time that we have applied in the past. So we're in a good position with them. The other grant that is currently on my desk, oh, I don't think I told y'all. We sent a letter of intent to apply for the Community Development Investment Grant from Fund the Flow Arts, and we were invited to apply. We are one of 3 organizations that they invited to apply, which is super exciting. The amounts are between $10,000 to $20,000, so pretty sizable grant. I still am a little they don't really know what to do with us, is kind of the reality. Just because they're like, oh yeah, we're trying to fund a project, and I'm like, oh, well, is our whole nonprofit a project? And they're like, oh yeah, I guess. So I don't really know what to expect. I know that we will have a really strong application. And also, I think that some of the criteria they're looking at and the ways that they make decisions is unusual for funders. So this one feels less predictable to me. Like I have all question marks about whether or not we'll receive funding from them. But we're gonna try. And it's great that they invited us. Yeah, I know. Yeah, flow toys and flow artists doing something unusual. It's us. And then the last note for grants that I have here, there's still a couple other open enrollment grants, like Tulalip Cares is a grant that we haven't barked up the tree yet because there's just been other stuff. But that's like a annual, they are accepting applications quarterly. And there were also a bunch of grants that I saw last year for the city of Bellevue that I plan to dig into as well, specifically to fund Eastside Spin Jam. And I think we should be pretty competitive for those also. Again, just as thanks, Blaze. Yeah, because again, it's a great program and it's good. I don't have total dollar amounts for the grants because most of them don't say how much they are awarding. So it's a mystery.
Okay, that spawns a further question. How do you evaluate if it's worth the time to apply if you don't know what the grant's value is?
Most of these are, I don't know. If it were
Okay.
a grant that was gonna take 20 hours to write, I don't know. I did that for For Culture and we got $88,000. So the ones that we're applying for are ones that we're familiar with already. Yeah, I don't have like a set thing for that, but sometimes it's like there are definitely grants that I'm turning away. Like there are some from like Seattle Parks and Rec that could be good, but we're like not quite in the right spot. We'd have to like move our events, or we're like not, we're like, if we don't nail the eligibility criteria and it's an involved grant, then I don't do it. So it's, for me, it's less, it's like part of it is about the time it will take, but part of it too is about like eligibility criteria. I'm really trying to focus on just applying for grants that I'm very confident that we could receive. But it's a mushy, it's like vibes, man. It's vibes. Sorry, I'm being invaded. Okay.
Pull that tiny dongle up there
Okay.
for me too. That's it. That's the only thing.
Okay, sorry. That's what I have for grants.
Who's taking over if Blaze is mobile?
Again. Because I will be facilitating also starting next time. So, all right. So marketing, swag.
Marketing's going. Swag update. I don't know. I don't know if we have.
They made cups. I have not done any further research on hoodies. I think we left off that we needed to find entirely 100% cotton hoodies was the desire. Is that yes? Remembering correctly.
I will say, not about hoodies, and Arlene, also let me know what you think. I did like the vendor we used for the mugs. They were nice to work with. And they're also a local woman-owned business, small business who have, I'm forgetting the words, but like some LGBTQ certifications, and just seemed to be a good local business to support. And they were very nice to work with, email with. Um, just putting that out there.
They do shirts too.
I believe they do on their web. They have a pretty decent catalog. Yeah. I don't know if they have 100% cotton stuff, but yeah, we can
Might
look.
be worth digging into.
Yeah.
All right. And then anything on communications aside from hiring someone that we already talked about?
I don't think so. I think that's really the main thing. Oh, one thing that might be worth sticking in this sort of area is just that there has been some like movement. I want us to be more involved in Discord, and I'm hoping that the media person we hire can help with that. Because there are a lot of people moving away from Meta products, and I don't want to lose that audience. So trying to encourage Discord and newsletter signups also, so that people can still stay connected.
All right. Community outreach. We already talked about volunteer recruitment. Do we want to chat about the appreciation event really quick? But I do want to keep us moving because we have a couple big items with the budget and the bylaws.
I thought it was fine. I thought it was nice. We learned. I think we should do it again, but maybe something different and maybe in a warmer time when we can do it outside instead of inside. Would be nice.
Did we get any feedback from community members and volunteers that attended?
Yeah,
Like,
people-
they appreciate the appreciation, hopefully.
yeah, they did.
Good.
They did. And I do still need to make sure we get mugs to everyone too, because there were a bunch of people who didn't come. So, yeah, I'll be on that train because they're all living in my living room right now.
All right, finance, turn it over to Desert for the budget and treasurer update.
Oh, my time to shine. My time to shine. 1 second. Well, Zoom is thinking about doing a thing, but not doing the thing. Oh, there it goes. Look at my spreadsheets and despair. So, I don't know if everyone had a chance to look at this or not, but in very high level, right? If we use last year's numbers as a base for this year, which of course have been year over year over year, we have projections that go out. The budget is primarily balanced. We're short about $2,000, but that amount, and we're going to just go down this real quick section by section when we're talking about contributions. I counted the 24K that comes from that grant that Arlene pointed out for 2025. And that number only assumes we're going to make $8,000 revenue in other grants, right? Seems completely plausible, probably even on the low side. But, don't want to overestimate too much. We have seen year over year a reduction in direct contribution coming in. In 2023, it was $10,000 higher than it was last year, for example. So, that's not a trend that's sustainable for us. A lot of our budget, you can see how our budget breaks down, right? It's roughly half direct contributions and the other half is really grants. And then maybe 40, and then 20, because Northwest Flow Fest, ESJ, they tend to come in pretty much neutral, if not a brand or two in the positive. Okay, and for all the board members, there's a link in the chat that goes to all the reports, and you can see a breakdown by program. Activity by class is that report's name, as well as just this standard document, which is our budget moving forward and what we, I think, need to approve as a board today before the end of this meeting. And if people aren't ready to do that, then we should find another day to do it, because this is how we're operating, whether we approve it or not. So let's see here. Program revenue. We got in about 6,400 on programs last year, which seems high to me, but it doesn't include some of the expenses that go against those, right? So the net is lower. Let's see here. What else do we want to talk about? I'm going to blow this up and it's going to get real big again. Okay. So a couple of things that are going to change in this, just mostly I'm going to touch on some high points for people to look at themselves. We are looking at a 10% raise for Arlene this coming year, bringing Arlene up just under the 30 an hour, I think is what it works out to, just under. Accounting fees, I'm expecting a reduction this year because we don't have the spin up costs that we did last year. We are looking to pay out to event producers this year, so that's increased by 30%. And a whole new line item in here is a marketing person based on 5 hours a week, 21 roughly Seattle's minimum wage per hour, and the number of working weeks. I pretty much aligned with Arlene's number of working weeks to give us a ballpark, and that works out to about 6,300 total pay for a marketing person for the year. That does seem low to me, given number of hours, but that's what the math said. So this is all the math. Like, it's hard for me to put feelings in here except in these percentage columns, right? Booth upgrades, I'm not increasing our supplies and materials because we blew that up by 320% on our budget last year to get the Fire Jam going. So the booth upgrades that Arlene is looking for, we don't need to increase that expenditure. We can just set it the same. I hope that makes sense to everybody, because we aren't going to buy all those same things for Fire Jam this year. The largest single increase is almost a 550% increase for venue fees. And that is largely due to Flow Shop. Flow Shop's venue cost is very high based on the document that Arlene sent me earlier. It's $8,100. Arlene, I saw that face. I just wanted to make sure that I linked that back, and that was what it was. So yeah, that's about right. Okay. Yeah, and in that same document, y'all can see the estimates for each program in here, because I didn't put into the class for budgeting because it's hard to read when I do that. Okay. So jumping back over here, what other things pop out? Storage costs. This number's increased by 50%, largely due, we need a larger unit, right? So everything that Arlene has talked about around programs or what we need, where it sounded like it costs money, should be integrated in here. And then I didn't actually do much work to balance the budget to estimate things differently than what we did last year. It just happened to work out very close to that, right? Software and cloud services, those things always just increase in costs. 10% a year is typical, so I threw that in there. Okay, so that's a high level of the budget. You could see we're in the red by about $2,000. I expect that'll shift out. When we budgeted last year, remember we were in the red, and then we did some adjustments, and we were like, okay, that's about even. So we budgeted for about having $1,000 in the black last year. We actually ended up with $11,000 in the black last year, which we do tend to do year over year. So I'm pretty comfortable with this $2,000 deficit, expecting it to sort out over the next, probably 6 months. By about Q3, we'll probably be back in the positive. All right. So any questions anyone want to throw on me at this?
I have some comments. Thanks for putting this together. This is great. A lot of detail and thought. I think it looks really good. My only suggestion would be to add a line item on revenue that equals the amount of the deficit. That's just like transfer from reserves, so that this spreadsheet shows a balanced budget. Because in my experience, sometimes grant funders want like your organizational budget, and if it's like exactly balanced, it looks good, and we definitely have money in the bank to do the transfer from reserves. Obviously, we would only do the transfer if we like needed to. As you said, we end up in the black in general usually, so it might not even be necessary, but just to make it look balanced, I would recommend that, and then would be ready to approve it. So those are my thoughts. Does anyone else want to make any comments? Or do you want to respond to that, Desert?
Yeah, I'd probably not do the balance in the transfer and instead up what we can expect from grants. Because like I said, 8,000 is low. An additional 2,000 coming in a grant seems completely plausible. And I wouldn't want to show use of our funds, our backup, like our savings funds, if we didn't have the likelihood of pulling in more grants than we currently display. Because this is assuming only 100% of what we got last year, which didn't include the 24K, but did include like a 20K that we got, and we have all of those grants that Arlene was talking about, which is why I was kind of asking for a ballpark number for our grant applications. Because if it's $5,000, right, then we're anticipating, forecasting being in the black by $3,000.
I am quite confident that that 8 to 10,000 in addition to what we already have. I'm confident about that. We also just got an email like 2 days ago from Arts Fund, who was our biggest funder the last 2 years, and they are also doing a program, doing grants this year. So we'll be applying for that in the spring. And that's another one. So it's weird as how many of these, I'm realizing now that you're asking, how many of these funders don't provide amounts that they're offering, which is weird. Or some of them also might have, it might be possible too, since I haven't dug into the applications, that some of them are asking for specific amounts we're applying for. That will be true for Fund the Flow Arts, is that we will tell them the amount that we want. And I just haven't, we like just got the application for that. So I need to like figure out what that is going to look like. But yeah, but 10,000 in addition to what we already have from grants feels definitely doable from my perspective.
Yeah. So bumping that up by 10% then to roughly that 10,000 that Arlene is talking about puts us over by 1,200. Right? So like, yeah, either one. I think we're more likely, like we're talking about probabilities at this point, right? Like budgeting is all probability. And I think we're more likely to get more funds via grants than we are to need to transfer from our savings.
Okay.
Yeah. But I agree. I'll add that line. I'll keep that in mind as
Yeah.
I move through this for the future, that if we end up in a situation, then that'll be a line item I can add to transfer funds from, our other accounts.
Yeah, and for even like for other like project
Yeah.
budgets and stuff. So that's good to know that that's like a strategy, because you're right.
Yeah. I
A
hadn't
lot
even
of them,
thought about it.
yeah, they want like a balanced budget.
Yeah.
And a related thing is, in the folder you have with the statement of activity, I'd love to also have the balance sheet or statement of financial position in there in the treasurer's
Mhm.
report, that shows like how much money we have in the bank, essentially.
Sure.
Um,
It'll be in there in 2 minutes.
What did you just call that, Kat? Sorry, I missed the term.
yeah, so there's 2 words for it. It's called the balance sheet or statement of financial position, and it kind of shows like how much savings we have.
Thank you.
One of them is a more non-profity term. I can't remember which one, but
I
We
just
use
put both
statement
in
of
notes.
we use statement of financial position.
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, it'll be in there in just a second. I just got to remove Kindle from it, and I'll upload it to that folder here real fast.
I feel good about approving the budget. Is there any further discussion, questions, comments before we take a motion? And I have a motion to approve the FY25 budget.
So moved.
Can I have-
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I think the motion passed.
Discussion.
Oh, any discussion? Oh, I kind of asked before, but okay, any discussion? Figure out how to do this.
Is that enough of a what's our quorum? Because Blaze is here, but I'm not hearing her vote.
Quorum is the majority that is present. Good job.
Wow.
Listening the whole time. All right, I'm ready to vote. What are we voting on?
FY25 budget. Any discussion?
I did look at it and it looks great. And I heard the discussion about grant versus transfer. And And like, I'm glad we have these problems to figure out. Like, wow. Great. I have no other comment.
All right, let's do all in favor, say aye one more time.
I
Aye.
Okay, the budget is approved. Liz, do you want to go back to facilitating or what are we doing?
Yeah, sure. We are at banking update, I believe. There's not much of a banking update. I got 2 new credit cards for Kindle people, or no, debit cards. For Clarice and Bridget. Desert and I are still figuring out the US bank situation. It seems they've still messed up our interest even on a personal account, so I gotta call them and deal with them. Other than that, not much update. It says board recruitment next. I think we already talked about that though. And we did the officer election. So what's left is the bylaw revisions, which we can motion, and then there's the land acknowledgement stuff. Did I miss anything else? Okie doke. Well, as you all know, the bylaws are confusing. And so in Appendix A, you may see the actual revisions in motion, but basically, instead of saying newly elected members have initial terms and blah, 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 it's just shall hold office for up to a 3-year term. No anything else. So any questions about that change or about the language or anything like that?
I'll just say that I advocated for this language for just, you know, a 3-year term in general for everyone. Because when we have like new board members would serve an initial 1-year term, I feel like it doesn't convey as much of a commitment. And I really want to be bringing in people that are like committed to serving on the board for at least a 3-year term and then, you know, considering the possibility of renewing. So I'm happy with this language. And we did talk about it at one of our meetings, so.
Well, motion to approve.
Motion.
Second on the motion to approve the bylaws changes.
second.
All right, last chance for discussion. No discussion has arose. All in favor, say aye. All against, say nay.
Aye.
I
Aye. All right, the motion carries and the bylaws have been revised. I would like to take 1 second to think about how we're going to update the website with the new bylaws and whose that's going to be on. Because in the past it's been confusing. So how about Desert? Do you
I
have?
can,
Okay.
yeah, I can just take care of it.
Okay. Sweet. So
I just need the
actual edit. Yeah.
Yeah, I just need someone to say this is done and this is the link.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's in here. So yeah, agenda. Cool. Sweet. Eileen.
Is it gonna be so obvious which bylaws is current? Please.
Yes.
That's hurt.
Revision date at the top. It was revised
In
February
the title. I don't want it in the document, in the title of the document. I want to know that it is the accurate one.
8th. Rev this, that. Yeah. Sounds good. Desert?
I was gonna see if we had time to discuss this at the end, but I'm gonna throw it out as a segue to Eileen's comment. I would like to be empowered to clean up our Google Drive in such a way that when we search bylaws, we get one document that is the current bylaws. And if I search for anything, I get one document that is that document. And I have a strategy to do this. I promise we will not lose any data. And I'm happy to discuss that if someone wants to like understand how that works. But it's a one-person task because one person has to track it, and trying to collaborate on it is a fiasco. So we can have a broader conversation, but I'd like to do this very much so.
Yeah, I'm generally in support of that. I would like to talk with you. I would like to be involved. I hear you about it being like a one person for tracking. I'm not trying to like also do it, but I want to help. But I just because yeah, some of the search terms for documents like don't make sense to me, or like the way that I search, and I could like change the search terms and stuff, but sometimes it's like there are things that exist that the way that I think to search them is not how they're labeled. And I too am very interested in that being more streamlined.
At just, Arlene, Ariana, you'll have a reference for this, but at the end, you'll get something like what I did for the community fire jam structure. Like, here's how everything is organized. This is the criteria. And you can look at that and be like, oh, it'll just be more complicated because it's a subsection, right?
Yeah.
But that's maybe end of Q2 completion timeline for Desert, maybe Q3.
Yeah, we're not rushing.
Yep.
But yeah, I think Drive organization has been something that we have cared about for a long time and just haven't ever had the bandwidth for yet.
It's going on my action list now. Oh, it's already here. And it's got me and you as the action.
Okay, cool. With our powers combined and our ability to take notes, we remember most things.
Cool. Time check.
We got 12 minutes. And I think land acknowledgement is what we're talking about. Trying to find the link to. I think I put it in the agenda actually. Yeah. So Desert Drive is land acknowledgement and slides. And so I think there were several points to talk about, including what do we think about the words? What do we think about saying them? Do we want to edit them? The resources as well. And then there's the like, at what meetings do we say this or not, and who gets to decide? Those are some of the things that I came up in my mind in the past day or so of thinking about this. So I'm not sure if we're gonna motion anything, but I would like to like figure out where we are on this so we can move forward. And does someone want to, Desert, do you want to explain what you're writing? Something.
I'm sorry, I completely was looking at our balance sheet. Can you say that again?
We're talking about the land acknowledgement and
talking about the land.
what our
Okay,
next
I've got
steps
stuff to
are,
talk about that.
or
Yeah,
you
sure.
like or not.
All right, so I don't know if people had a chance to take a look at the land acknowledgement that I put together. I will read it real quick for everybody in case you haven't had a chance to view it. All right. Oh, I'm nervous to read it for the first time in front of people. Okay, I'm just going to sit that. We acknowledge that the land on which Seattle Flow Arts Collective and many of us reside has been the ancestral home of the Duwamish, Muckleshoot, Squamish.
Squamish.
Still Squamish, right?
Squamish.
Squamish. No, that's the first one. There's a second one.
And Stillaguamish.
Stillaguamish, yeah.
Yeah.
And Tulalip people since time immemorial. These communities are still here today, and we strive to amplify their voices and provide meaningful ways to support them. As part of this acknowledgement, we invite you to take a few minutes to review the document linked in chat. It includes historical context about these tribes and insights into their present day existence. And I'm going to put that link in here for everybody. That link opens up to a little slide with links directly to the various tribes I've just named official websites. Yeah, if you're not a board member, you'll have to request access, and as soon as you do, I'll I'll get you approved. Oh, Tori. You know, interesting. Okay, I'm approving those requests right now. And if nobody else can get in there, just let me know. I'll do a screen share. But it gives, those direct links. It invites people. One of the biggest questions that I find people have is, how do I help? Like, I don't know what to do. What do I do? So kind of break down like time, treasure, talent approach to things. Donate your time. If you have a talent, donate some talent, right? If you have money, if you have treasure, donate some treasure. But that's also usually the first go-to, but not everyone can do it. So I really want to emphasize not so much the monetary part as part of our org, and more the getting involved, at the very least, understanding the history of the tribes in the area on whose land we reside.
Yeah, I think this is great. I had one suggestion on wording to say it is the ancestral home instead of has been. And then, yeah, I think the resources are really good. I might like also to see us donate as an organization to some of the tribal organizations, and put our money behind our words as an organization. So, those are my thoughts. Yeah.
Over time, we could be making more efforts to connect with the tribes and offer what we do, which they may or may not be interested in, but
even too, just like they're, they have events at like the Longhouse, like the Duwamish Longhouse and stuff like that are open to the general public. Like just like attending those events, like going and kicking it, I think is great. I really like the language that's in the land acknowledgement, and I also want to be sure that if like we say that we strive to whatever, like we strive to like amplify and support them. I think if we say that, we also need to be doing that. So I think, and I think that that's a great thing to do. So I'm on board. Tori, I see that informational stuff at the booth for FlowFest. Sure.
So, anybody else have anything I want to respond to those comments, but I want to see if anyone else has anything they want to contribute first. Blaze.
I like the land acknowledgement. I think it's pretty thorough. And I would love to hear that at board meetings. I think for circle time, we might want one that's a little shorter and like easier to get through, but it depends who's reading it. Like I would have trouble getting through it, but if someone else doesn't and it's just my like attention span, then like, yeah. But like, yeah, I think the words is the easy part. It's still like, what other actions do we want to do? Like, not sure. And just having a shout out at meetings is also amplifying, right? But it's like one thing.
You're muted, Desert.
A couple of responses. First, towards the circle time comment. This is not intended for weekly, daily use. It's intended for use at our open public events, at our board meetings, at anything that becomes repetitive over and over tends to become noise. And if people want to use it a circle time, like I don't I'm not going to object, but that's not its intention when I put it together. Okay. Going to, doing things. So there exists the Duwamish Solidarity Group. If you've never heard of it, it is the group of almost completely white, well, let me rephrase that, non-tribal members who work on behalf of the Duwamish to do things like land remediation, right? Like there's the Longhouse, but above the Longhouse is 4 acres of formerly toxic land with industrial waste on it that has been remediated over the 4 years that is getting opened this year. So that group is specifically a group that's local that people can join, and that is available off the Real Rent Duwamish site, which I explicitly did not put on that document. And for anybody who's aware of the politics of our local tribes, you can guess why, but you can find links to those directly through the Duwamish link that is there, right? Giving money to something becomes a political decision, whether we want it to or not. So if we give money to Duwamish and not Muckleshoot, is that us supporting them versus them, right? Which I think we have no business in, frankly. I do like the idea of figuring out some way where, and this was my original offering 3 years ago when I put this first email together of when we use this acknowledgement, because we're using it not at every event, at every circle time, that we put money behind it. Every time we use it, we're going to make a donation of X amount. And, when we do that, we cross these things, right? There's a specific number of tribes that are our local tribes without evaluation of whether it's more meaningful to donate to Tulea, to Duwamish than to Tulalip. I don't know that we can I know I'm not comfortable making that determination, which is, kind of why when I first went into this a few years ago, I was backed off because I did not feel comfortable. But what I've put together now is kind of not supporting any other tribe over another, which is really what I want to focus.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a break. Phoenix?
Would it be reasonable for us to make a list of organizations from each of the tribes and then say we're going to use this at 4 quarterly board meetings and a couple other large events? If we rotated where we're giving the money so that we are giving money to each of those places equally over the course of time, and just highlight each organization as we use it so that each one kind of gets that might be a reasonable way to make it as non-political on our part of, choosing one tribe over another.
Mm-hmm. Rotating focus is an interesting approach.
Tulalip is actually made up of 5 tribes, if y'all didn't know that.
Contextually, if you're talking about today's Tulalip.
Well, Tulalip didn't exist until the Point Elliott Treaty.
Yeah. If, in those slides, y'all will see the 1855 Point Elliott Treaty link, as well as some additional information about Duwamish and their battle with the U.S. government for many, many years and their current lawsuit. So, when we're reading this, we're not going to get this deep into it, right? This is not one of the things that I did have concerns about is if I provide a link in the chat, we are probably going to lose some of the audience while they peruse those links and click around, which I don't particularly think is a bad idea, right? A lot of people who come here to these kinds of meetings are here for a specific thing that's probably not the thing that's immediately following the link to those slides. Right? So yeah, anybody who has more thoughts, comments, like just time check-in, shoot them over to me. I don't know that we're ready to enact this as a board. Like, yes, this is our thing, but it's definitely a big step forward for us. And at our next board meeting, I would like us to be in a position to vote and enact this with the understanding about when it's used. And frankly, I would like the board to have somewhat of a understanding of what it is that we're talking about, right? Whether that's people doing their own reading and like using those links, or we sit down and have a little conversation for an hour about what the people here know and have that conversation introduce new or old information.
If anybody
Those are my
wants to field trip to the Hebel Cultural Center in Tulalip, I haven't been in years and I've been meaning to go back. It's
Cool.
very informative, a really cool space.
I'd be down. I think that sounds fun.
I'm in.
It's an amazing museum of Coast Salish history, and it's very cool and kind of just hidden away up there.
And I do want to say I am reading all your comments in chat here, Tori. And I think those are some good ideas, you know, that
Good.
we can develop. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also, I don't know, this is like not, but I'm interested in like maybe including the Coast Salish language as part of the acknowledgement, just since it's, yeah. I also have considered, yeah, whatever. The Salish Sea, what a lovely name, versus Peter Puget, who is a total jerkwad. And also I do want to find a, like, what's the alternative for, like, because I will probably, I personally want to open the FlowFest Gala with a land acknowledgement this year.
Yeah.
And obviously, please view these documents linked in the chat is like not applicable to an in-person context. So we just want to figure out what our alternative is for that. But overall, I think this looks really great and I'm stoked about it. Thanks for putting it together.
Yeah. And I have thoughts now that you put that in that context. I have immediate thoughts about how we might be able to do that.
Cool.
Sweet. I'm done with this part. If y'all are good for now, because we are over time.
Thanks for getting this started again, Desert.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
We are 1 minute short of 2 hours. Any other announcements from board members or community members before we close?
Can I just take a moment to express gratitude to all of you for everything that you do within the organization, and especially for everyone who took officer positions today. And I also just want to shout out Blaze in particular, who is with no, like, it is not hyperbole to say that this organization would probably not exist without her. There's a lot that I did and Kat helped, but like Blaze is really the one who struggled through all of the paperwork and understanding how to set up a nonprofit and how to set up the banking and all of these things. Like, we really wouldn't be here without you. And you've been our board chair for 5 years. And that's amazing. So I just want to shout you out and say thank you for everything that you've done.
Thanks. Current Blaze is amazed by past Blaze too, because I looked at that first meeting agenda. It was like 20 points, like A through P, and I'm like, y'all must have think I'm crazy. What the I don't get crazy. So thank you very much. Also, happy 5 years. We made it.
Yeah.
We're little kids. We're not toddlers anymore.
It's like 50% of nonprofits die within the first 5 years. Like, it's a huge, huge percentage. And we are like soaring past that, right? Like, we're not, like, we're in a really strong
People
position.
have gone, they're like, wow.
And we get stronger every year.
It's true. Thank you. With that, I think we should call it. Can I get a motion to conclude the meeting?
So moved.
A second on the
Second.
motion. All right, any discussion on the motion to end the meeting?
I'd like to move it, move it. That's been playing in my head all day.
Move it.
And I remind you
about
that that is an
Madagascar or something
acceptable
like
way
stage,
to
but
make
yeah.
a motion.
All right, any further discussion on the motion? All right, none has come. All in favor of the motion to end the meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Can't vote for anything. All right, the motion carries. The meeting is concluded. Congrats, everyone. Thanks. Go make shapes, go stretch, take care of your existence. I'm gonna go make some Legos and stuff. Kid time. All right, y'all. I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
Laters.